Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lips podcast. This is Brian, joined by my co host Paul. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share their thoughts and perspectives on marriage. We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. In today's topic, we'd like to ask you a real simple question. Is it not cool to have a healthy marriage? We're going to respond to a negative comment we had, which we wouldn't typically do, but I'm feeling extra salty about this one. So,
All right. And before we get into that salt, um, just we want to remind you to lean into community with us. So you can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube searching Marriage is Tougher, or you can go over to our site, marriageistoffer.com. If you'd like to be a guest or if you have any comments, you can leave them at the form at the bottom of the page. For sure, if you want to be a guest, make sure you click the Be a Guest link, fill out the form, let us know what topics you'd like to talk about, and we'll reach out so we can get you on the show. So, with that, let's jump into this episode.
yeah. So the younger me wants to be like, who do you think you are? Nah, I'm playing. I really don't care all that much, but I just thought it was funny that someone would call us simps, right? Like, we're simps because we want to have a healthy marriage and we're working on it. And then I think back to the company I used to work for, our top salesperson, people would rag on him all the time. Like, man, he's cheating, this, that, and the third. He'll do anything to get $1 and all that. And then I eventually developed a healthy respect for the work that man put in to get where he is. Right. I don't need to share the type of money he makes or whatever, but it is significant. Um, and I think it's the same. We sometimes when we're immature or have these feelings of we don't necessarily care for where we are in life, it's easier to try to tear somebody else down than it is to build yourself up. But that will never get you the result that you want. So for me, at least, I'm going to leave that there. Do you have any thoughts on us being called simps?
I think that was well stated. Um, yeah, I'll let that that go there. Um, but really, having a healthy marriage is a top priority for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever the results are of that, which would be a good marriage, nothing else matters. Really, the comments or anything matters because that is one of my top goals in life. So I'm trying to hit all of my top goals. So, what is that? Having a strong relationship with God, um, being able to have a strong marriage, and being able to really steward my kids in the way as a gift from God. How can I help them be productive people in society? How do I raise a good human? Like
Mm-hmm.
those are really top three. And with all that comes with, being a good person myself, a productive member of society, working to um, bring resources to the family, whatever that is, whether it's resources, monetary resources, financial resources, emotional resources, just being available for whatever they need. Um, so that's the goal, and that's where I'm moving forward. However, that displays to others is what it is.
Right.
But as long as I have my core unit understands where we're going and that we're trying to get there and where everyone's role is in that, then that's what we're going to do. Um, and that just made me think about, your I think it's your sum of, you know, the five people that you spend the time the most, right? You become more like those people, right? So it's about setting yourself side aside time to hang out with specific people and being intentional, right? Sometimes we're not intentional, or sometimes it's our family or whatever that is. But if you can get around people that have that same mindset, that that comment of being a simp is so far away from like my immediate sphere of people. It is that it's just a comment, and it's kind of hilarious to me.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a good direction to take this episode. And that is for those who might struggle in that area. How do we, or what do we need to do to care less about the comments? Right? There's always going to be comments, whether it be on social media, in your real life, right? It used to be a little bit easier because they weren't so easy to see or hear, right? The world we came from when we were younger, it was typically, unless somebody said something directly to your face, you may not know how they felt, right? Or if they said it to somebody else and they came and ran to you and told you what was said, you were blissfully ignorant, right?
Hmm.
But now it's just so prevalent. And I think it is easy to fall into the trap of, oh my goodness, somebody thinks this about me. But if you really think like how insignificant their thoughts are, um, like how do their thoughts really affect the outcome of your life?
Hmm.
Now, I'm not going to say that they can't, but what I will say is they only will if you allow it to. So back to my question, how do we get there?
Um, oh, before we get to the how we get there, make sure you redirect me. But I think that's comments either way,
Hmm.
right? Because if you are getting congratulated and um, everything's great and you're amazing, like you still have to stay the course of what your goals are,
Right.
right? If you start seeking that approval of others or those comments from others that aren't in a part of your core people that you're trying to affect, that can now get you off track of what you're doing as well. You now, instead of doing it for the good of your marriage or good of your family, you're doing it for the good of the approval of people that don't really have that big of an impact. So
Yeah.
either way, the comments need to just be that, the comments, but what you're doing in life really needs to be what you're having. Um, but back to your question, I just wanted to say that as well. How do we get there? I think it is step one is realizing what you want to do, like the goals, the places you're trying to get, what you want to do for your marriage, your family, or whatever is important to you. Um, Step two is um, acknowledging that it's going to take work and it's not going to be perfect. Step three is finding people that have gotten to where you want to be,
Hmm.
or are on that journey to get to where you want to be, and start spending more time with them. um, and step four, I think, is giving yourself grace when it doesn't go as fast as you want it to go.
Yeah, that's good. Um, my thought on it is looking through the lens of who are the people that are in your life, because you got the one group who is the here today, gone tomorrows, and then you have the stayers,
Hmm.
right? The people who really have your back, and no matter what you're going through, may hold you accountable, but will also support you coming back to where you need to be, right? And the here today, gone tomorrows are here just because they want something from you, right? And when you're talking about just a comment, and we've probably largely given this person that now, but um, they're just looking for a reaction, right? They're looking for likes because so many people dive into the negativity, right?
Hmm.
It's an easy space to be because kind of takes the attention off of your shortcomings, you know?
Absolutely.
And honestly, I feel sorry for that person because if that's what you need to do to feel better about yourself, you know, I can take that heat, but you should really consider why it is you feel that way, or why it is you felt the need to negatively impact a community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just as we were just talking about it, trying to formulate the episode, I was just thinking like where in my legit sphere of influence would someone ever disapprove of trying to have a healthy marriage, right?
Right.
And it just is that's not a there's not a space for that. Everyone that I'm around, all the guys that are married are trying to have strong, healthy marriages. All the guys that are single understand the value of that and
Hmm.
the impact that has on the community, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're not in a space for looking at one at this moment or like in a relationship, whatever, like that's the value that they have. So the guys that I'm around wouldn't ever, it wouldn't even be a thing to critique someone striving to have a healthy marriage. So it's just weird that someone would. But
Right.
that you have to realize that they're at a place that either they don't know, they've been so hurt, or they just are a negative person. So, but then I was also just thinking like how blessed I am that that is the people that I'm around.
Yes.
So not everybody has that, or not everybody's seen that play out in a positive way. So understanding that my life is good in that space, but then also realizing like that is why we started the podcast.
Facts. And you'll find what you're looking for. If you want negativity in your life and you go seeking that, your life will be full of negativity. And if you want to find people who are doing better than you and are willing to pour into you in order to help you improve yourself, you can find that too. And that's the path I'm on. That's the path we're on. I would say, um, I know my wife approves and appreciates it.
Hmm.
I know my mother-in-law approves and appreciates it. I know my kids approve and appreciate the path that I've been on these past years. Um, my friends who I learn from and able to pour into approve and appreciate. Um, Everyone else is insignificant in my world,
Yeah.
and that doesn't mean that I won't find new people to pour into or who will pour into me. What that means is if you're taking your time to be that, be negative, then it's going to be very difficult for you to find your way into my world outside of a random comment.
Man, I didn't that's good. That's good what you said. Um I didn't get to turn that question back on you on
Mm.
how on ways to get to where you are now and how you've grown, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of answered it the way I wanted to, which was looking through the lens,
Mm.
right? Um, I think if there was anything that I would add to it, other than kind of just seeing people for where they're at, um, building that filter, you know, just I guess the ability to move yourself where you want to be and building the confidence to do so. Because I think that's the struggle. When we see people who are doing better than us, sometimes we inherently feel like, oh, they don't want us around them,
Hmm.
right? And if you didn't quite hear what I said the way I intended it, you might say, well, Brian, you just said that. Like, the people who aren't on your level, you don't want them around you. No, the people who aren't trying to be on my level, right, is the group of people that I don't want around me. If I see you struggling, but you're struggling because you're trying, I will extend a hand, right? So if I can give any tip or advice, uh, be willing to give, be willing to receive, right? When we are where we want to be, it's easy to give. When we need, sometimes it's difficult to ask for that help. So that's what I mean by be willing to receive, right? For those who are where you want to be, listen, take the advice, filter it how you need to, but largely take the advice and don't only listen, but begin to work.
Hmm.
If those people see that you begin to work, they will continue to pour into you and open up more doors for you.
That's good. Very good. Um, what, and we can just touch on this for a little bit, but what makes a healthy marriage?
Oof, so much. Um, so, as we always talk about healthy communication, um, a desire to want to be near each other, to work on yourself and work on your marriage. Um, Wanting to develop goals together and work on those goals. Um, Wanting to pour into your community and that desire to be a team, right? And that goes back to developing goals and things, but that desire to, as a team does, hold each other up and sometimes compensate for your teammates' weaknesses, right? And that doesn't say to necessarily be content with your partner's weaknesses, but the willingness to acknowledge them, help them work on them, the ability to give them grace when they are working on them. Excuse me. Um, and that needed patience as they're going through their process. Just off the top
Wow.
of my head.
No, that's that's really good. That's spot on. I don't have anything to add. Those are, I would say, the big things, the overall archers. Um, just remembering that you want to be the best version of yourself, period. But then how does that incorporate into the with your spouse, right? So meaning consider your spouse as you're growing in personal areas, but also consider how do I implement that into my marriage. So that comes back to the team and that, but I think just being self-aware would be the another aspect of that. But I think that's learning how to be the best version of yourself, is being able to see where your shortcomings are, and being the best married version or marriage version. Like, where do we struggle as a marriage
Mm-hmm.
as well? But other than that, yeah, that's good. That's the things we're striving for. And that's the things we're going to talk about. And those are um, comments and or those are little tidbits we're going to share what's working for us, how we get to, you know, have date night, how we struggled, but how we're loving on our wives and figuring out how to receive love from our wives, right? And all
Yeah.
those things. That's what we're here for, to show you that we are not perfect, that we make mistakes, but we also have some things that we're good at, and we can give examples of that and how it worked for us. That's largely the community we're trying to create. Um, how do we keep getting better? What are ways that we can jump in if we, haven't had this space or haven't even reflected on what it is to be a good husband or how it is to have a good marriage? What are little things we can do to get better? Because in essence, we want to win in marriage. And what does win mean? It's a moving target, but it's being the best version of our marriage for where we are now, but knowing that we can be better in the future as well.
Yeah. And if that makes me a simp, then hey, I'll be a simp.
Right.
Like I'm where I want to be.
That's it. Um, but yeah, with that, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you again. New listeners, we appreciate you. If you've been rocking with us for a while, we love that. Again, leave comments wherever we are. Searching Marriage is Tougher on social, and or running to our website and filling out the contact form so we can connect with you that way. But definitely, if you want to be a guest, want to talk through some things online or on a pod, please hit us up there and we can reach out to get you going. So, again, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time, and we will chat with you next time.
Peace.